Testing. Okay. They can hear me over. Good. Very good. Oh, okay. You can hear me on. Okay, now people can hear me. Okay, that's weird. Huh. Yes. Okay, it's working. Uh, which side are you on, lobotomy? By the way, I'm curious. You're on Twitch. Okay. 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 Very, very lovely. Good. Uh, I don't know if you can see over on YouTube. I have a new setup over on YouTube. If you want to check, uh, I've been messing with settings and stuff over there. Robin. Okay. Sorry. I am. Has been far too long. Okay. I think I got everything set up the way I want it to. Oh, well, yeah. One second. Sorry, this is just taking me a hot minute to do everything. Okay. Okay. Hope everybody is doing fantastic. I know it almost seemed like my beautiful, beautiful face was never going to appear on your screens again, but no, sir and madams. I am. I have returned. Um, if you're curious, if you're watching over on YouTube, you should be able to hear me over there on YouTube. Uh, YouTube is the new thing I've set up. I've set up. It's obviously I've been dual streaming on YouTube for a while, but I have a new setup now that is different over there. If you're curious, and the reason being is that it's so that people. I might be a schmuck, but I only just recently discovered. Oh no, wait! Over on YouTube, if you do it vertically, you get a lot more views. So, okay. Bot Ricks. Hey, hey, hey! Good to see you today. Thing hasn't connected yet. Hey, Jaden. Good to see you. Good to see you, buddy. Hope everything's going fantastic. Okay. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that. I kind of want to watch it again. There's my mouse. Haha. There's always going to be people like that, Jaden. There's just always going to be people like that. Okay. Let's hope this works. Testing. Oh, thank God. Okay. You guys can't see it, but there's it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. We have to whole thing in the I have to deal with now in the background. Okay. Yeah, and it's like because like Supergirl is still is still kind of immature and is not dealing with. Yeah, it's a good movie. Yeah, and being as Crypto is based on James Gunn's actual dog. You know, there's a lot more to say. Okay, let's see. I think I got it all figured out. Botrix is not working at the moment, which is frustrating me, but yeah, right? It's very cute. Sorry, this is a lot. I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes wrangling right now at the moment to try and just get stuff, make sure everything is working correctly. Because if you guys go over to the YouTube, you'll see that it is the setup is very different now and very new, and required me to install and get working a lot of different things. So I say that I installed one addition to OBS, one add-on to OBS to have it do what it is now, which I'm very proud of that I figured it out. Oh no! What just happened? Jen, let me tell you something. I am currently dealing with that issue as well. I have two ideas in a story I'm working on, and I realized today that probably they would be better served as two separate stories instead of trying to combine them into one, which is very frustrating because now it hurts the climax of the story, and I'm a little bit bummed out, but I think it's correct. Anyways, thank you, Nightbot. You're being very helpful. Yeah. By the way, guys, sorry for being away for so long. I didn't mean that to happen. It just kind of did. Just stuff kept getting in the way. But we'll try and get back to a more regular streaming schedule. I'm not sure. Yeah. I was very obsessed with the Spider-Man 2 adaptation as a kid, which is kind of where all that sort of gameplay-esque stuff started, was in Spider-Man 2. I recently replayed it, emulated. I actually have the emulator up here if we ever want to play it at some point. Where is it? Where is my emulator? Somewhere here. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we should play the emulator at some point. Well, there's Project Nintendo, which is for the Nintendo 64 games, but I also have a GameCube one somewhere. I also have Dolphin around here somewhere. Anyways. Yeah. I love Spider-Man. I have yet to read, by the way, the new Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which I have heard very good things about. People have been raving about them for a long time. So I gotta get on that, which is my bad. Have you heard of the new Ultimate Spider-Man comics? They're about Peter becomes Spider-Man later in life, and apparently people really like it. And I'm like, I need to check that stuff out, my friend. Need to check that stuff out. Anyways, so here's the story. I feel a little awkward doing this. It's been a bit since I've done this. Okay, so here's the story. Morning Glory. Gotta stop doing that. I am in another writing class. Yeah. Yes. Well, that's very good. I do love Chip Zdarsky. Although people didn't really like his Batman run, which bums me out. I didn't read it. I don't know. I miss... This is going to sound terrible. I do miss when he wrote most, like, lighthearted comedies, mostly. Those were really fun. I get he's, like, more respectable now, but he had really good comedic writing. You know, it's a really underrated comic that he wrote that I don't see enough people talk about. If you get a chance to, I think you've read this already, Jaden. Check out The Public Domain. Is a comic he wrote, and it's about if you guys have never heard of it, it's about it's this dad who's pretty much Jack Kirby. Discovering he technically still owns the right to a famous superhero that he created, and it's about them trying to get rights, him and his sons, his family trying to get the rights back officially. It's a really fun comic. It is pretty much. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I could be done with the Court of Owls, honestly. That's my controversial opinion. If we could move on from the, I don't know. I'm kind of okay. Okay, so it's okay. Good. Yay, it works. Just wanted to make sure it works. If I could, I'd move on from the Court of Owls, honestly, and do other things. But you know, it is what it is. I'm a little bit. I'm a little bit like sick of like the Scott Snyder. Is that him as a guy who's pretty much been in charge of Batman for like the past decade and a half? Like Scott, if I could, like. Wouldn't that be lovely, Robin? Wouldn't that be lovely? And I'm just noticing that the chat box cuts off the names a little bit. Which is frustrating me now. Batman the Owl's Hollow. Yeah. Okay, let's check that out. Honestly, I haven't really been keeping up with comic books as much as I used to. The Owls. What is this? Is this like a fan thing? Oh, cool. Oh, it's a fan movie. Oh my goodness, Robin, tell me about this new kitten that you have. Well, yeah, I'll check that out. I wish to learn of this new kitten. Uh, okay. What was terror? That's a. I like that. Do you call it that? That's so funny, Robin. Really, it's just wow. That is impressive. Um, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. The Batman fan film I remember was let me see if I can find it. Batman. It's amazing how Bat Kitty. Yes, versus Predator. Yeah. No, no, no. There it is. Yeah, here it is. Does he have a secret identity? Let's see. Will this work? I like how the quality of this video is like it was recorded on like two separate VCR tapes, which is nice. So it's really good because you can barely see anything. Because it's actually not that bad. I remember it being pretty decently shot, and I can't find a good version of it, but oh, come on. That is a good question. Let's see. I don't know. Probably something like the Untouchables, which in the end, the hero heroically get the guy. Which which is about Al Capone getting arrested for tax evasion, which was a real thing, is what they did. Let's see, what other movies or shows. I mean, I know you were asking like joke, but like I was thinking like something like Margin Call, which is all about analysis, or yeah. Let's see. Best movies about accountants. Let's see. Oh, okay. One second. Accountants. Let's see. Pick. Yeah. I would say. Margin Call would be probably a movie that a guy like that would really like. Hi, Jaden. Just something about finance, really. Oh, so this is like a secret kitten that you've hidden? It's a hidden kitten. I like. Okay. The accounting. Let's see. The accounting subreddit suggests other people's money. Oh, I know this one. Yeah, I remember. This is a famous one. Well, it's famous. Oh, it got quite bad reviews, I guess. Yeah. We're all very excited to read it, Jason. We're all very excited to read it. We're all supporting you, but take your time. Remember, it's a marathon, not a race. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of that, let me explain the nature of where I am at the moment in my writing, which is complicated, I guess. Which is complicated. And by that, I mean, the reason I've heard of Other People's Money is I've never seen it, but it's one, it has a particularly famous scene, and it was Gregory Peck's last movie. That's why I know it from. Anyways, speaking of that, because currently me and you, Jaden, we share similar issues at the moment. Including not being able to get the stupid chat thing on YouTube to not cut off no matter what I'm doing, apparently. Which is driving me up a wall. Yeah. Oh my god, did you by the way hear like what the original plan? I just learned what the original plans were for the Snyderverse, apparently. And apparently, oh my god, it was so bad. Like apparently like Bruce and Lois were meant to get together and have a child, and it would have been Bruce Clark, and ugh. People, it would like that was gonna be the big thing. which was. I'm curious, Lobotomy, what this story is about. I am too. I mean, there's a little part of me that sympathizes with people that they liked that universe and they kind of wanted it to survive, and I kind of get it. It's like, I have a little sympathy for that, I guess, because it sucks when the thing you like goes away, but. One, I'm overtly suspicious that they don't really care. Two, they're more doing this to prove a point. And three, they seem to not really care about Zack Snyder's other project. What's funny to me is like Zack Snyder has a whole other thing he was doing for a while. The space thing, his kind of Star Wars-esque space ripoff thing. And his fan base did not care about that. They just cared about the DC stuff, and they just wanted. Yeah. Well, I would say I'm sympathetic to the idea that. You wanted, yeah. I think that Justice League movie was pretty bad, just in general. So at least the Snyder Cut was a more coherent version of the Justice League movie, Like, at least they didn't cut from Snyder's stuff to Whedon's stuff. Man, the fall of Joss Whedon is that was not a fun time. Have to admit that. Seems like he's a pretty kind of shitty figure. I cursed. Oh, whatever. I wasn't really prepped for that, I guess. Because I used to really like Joss Whedon's stuff. I guess I can admit that now. But him being kind of him being a garbage person was that wasn't fun, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I liked Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I was a huge, huge fan of Firefly. That was like my favorite show for years was Firefly. Which is, I don't know, it used to be a show I would always recommend to people as like, oh man, you got to check out Firefly. But I don't know, it's like, I guess it would be awkward now to recommend that. It's a bit too awkward now to recommend Firefly, I guess. Um, I don't know if it even holds up still, but I used to really love that show. I honestly don't know what to do with stuff like that, really, at times, because I really loved Firefly. That was a show I really liked. Anyways, you got if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, you'd probably like Firefly because it's operating in very similar territory. Um, it's where Nathan Fillion first really pops up as a big deal. I do feel that James Gunn is probably the evolution of Whedon as a dude. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with that because it's like I was a big fan of Whedon for a while, and it's awkward now to recommend stuff from him. It's awkward because it's like, oh yeah, well there was I met him once. I met him once. I say I met him. I saw him speak at Comic-Con once. Um, Moving past that, don't need to talk about that. Popular writers from my youth all revealing themselves to be pretty shitty people is seemingly is gonna keep happening. So, um, okay. Speaking of that, let me explain to you guys where I am currently in my writing. I am once again in another writing class. I might. This one is a sci-fi, and I'd like to write like a sci-fi story, but I don't know exactly. I don't have any ideas, and she did say, the teacher, that we could submit fantasy, and I'm like, yes. I feel like I've imparted. Yes, if you pick them up randomly or not, I'm glad I'm somewhat influencing you. Yes, all three are very good picks. I don't know if you took my suggestions of reading Grant Morrison and Chip Zdarsky, but I agree wholeheartedly. Those are excellent picks for writers. You gotta. Do I have it with me? I have the bun. Let's see. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Very good. I like. Yes, I agree. All that. I love Grant Morrison. I think. Are they retired now? I think they kind of retired from superhero, from DC at least. But man, they wrote fucking. Nope. They wrote great comics. Um, Really great comics. Um, Sometimes I kind of think it's a shame. I was thinking about this, that Grant Morrison probably, if DC hadn't treated him so bad, Alan Moore probably would be in the same position that Grant Morrison was in, really, because it feels like Grant Morrison did essentially became had sort of the career that Alan Moore would have had in at DC if they had just like not tried to screw him over at every moment in time. But yeah, if you ever read, I don't know, it's a fun. This is part of my complaints against Jeff Johns is explicitly because I don't. I think Jeff Johns is really scummy for kind of like stealing Alan Moore's like thing all the time. It's funny how okay. Have you ever read not 50, have you read 52? Those are good comics. I always think it's so funny how like 52 yeah, anyways. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other things to recommend people. Anyway, as I was saying, so currently I have to write a new sci-fi story. And I don't have any great ideas for a sci-fi story, which is a problem because I have to write one. And now she did say I could submit a fantasy story and that would be fine. Yeah. My teacher did say I could submit a fantasy story and that would be fine. And you know, I've written so much freaking fantasy for the last year and a half. That I want to try something a little. I want to do some sci-fi. I want to be a cool sci-fi dude. But I don't have any ideas. which is the problem. I could I don't know. I love Star. Yeah. I recently, yes, I like Star Wars. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars, nothing but Star. I don't know. If you guys, there was a joke, okay, in SNL, Bill Murray had this character and he was a lounge singer. And what he would do is people would give him like songs. He would just make up songs to sing, and like they said, give me a song. You know, he'll say, yeah, I'll take any suggestions. Somebody said sing Star Wars, so he created. He said Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. It's a very old SNL bit. Star Wars, nothing but Star. I always, and like a lot of older SNL sketches, it goes on a lot longer than you think it should, and it has a weird. Has a weird. It's much longer and extensive than you think it should be. It's 7 minutes long. I always think it's so funny. Let's see.
This is the Nick Winter Show, and I do the entertaining. Thank you. Let's go out with something really hot for these folks. A big hit on the 77. Ah, Star Wars. Nothing but Star Wars. Give me no Star Wars. North of Ah, Star Wars. If they should Star Wars, please let these Star Wars stay. And hey, how about that nutty Star Wars bar? Can you forget all the creatures in there? And hey, Darth Vader in that black and evil mask. Did he scare you as much as he scared me?
Anyways, it's an old bit. I always so whenever I think of Star Wars, I always go Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. Anyways, but yeah. You're Mook. No, you're the Mook. Oh. No, your mom. I'm your mom. Anyways, oh. The question is, what should I write? And you may notice I've been staring at this blank page, and you're like, well, Sean, why don't you get to writing? And, well, Jaden and everybody in the stream, this is what writing is for me now. This is what writing is. Staring at a blank page, having no ideas. Me and a couple of people. Unfortunately, this is for adults. This is an adult thing. We're working. I'm getting together a potential superhero tabletop role playing game to play. Oh, are you going to be okay? Robin, are you going to be okay? Hope you'll be okay. Be nice to get some break, I guess. But yeah, so I could do a superhero story. That's something I've been thinking of for a while. Just do superhero things. Hopefully it's nothing too big. that's good. Good. Well, that's good. That sounds routine to me. But it's I think Jaden is trying to get your attention, Robin. What book to read? You want a suggestion? Here's my suggestion. Heir to the Empire, Robin. Heir to the Empire. Read the original Thrawn trilogy. That Timothy Zahn wrote. The true sequel Star Wars series. Introduces maybe one of the best. Introduces two of the best. Introduces maybe the best villain Star Wars ever had outside of Darth Vader. Yeah. Admiral Thrawn, who in a just world would have been the villain of the sequel series. Anyways. By the way, I don't know. I didn't mention it, but boy, Disney was doing some bull crap last week. Just to get it onto the record. That was some. Yeah, I mean, out of the movies. But yeah, Disney was doing some bull crap last week with the Jimmy Kimmel stuff. Just wanted to get my opinion out there stated. That was crap. Yeah. I you guys should check out Heir to the Empire at some point. It's I actually never finished reading it. I've recommended it so many times that I never finished reading it. I read it when I was like 14. It's too much. This Heir to the Empire is back before Disney was in charge. Controversially, this might anger Star Wars fans. I don't know. I don't want to appease anybody anymore because even the old timers are annoying me now. Like, controversially, Disney has made some pretty decent Star Wars stuff. Yeah, and those are my Mandalorian, Rogue One, Andor. Disney has made some pretty good Star Wars stuff. So people are like, oh, Disney makes bad. Nah, you can't really dismiss it because there's been some good Star Wars stuff made under Disney. Arguably, proportionally, I am forever frustrated that I can't get the original easily get the original cut of the original Star Wars movies. I mean, I have them. I have the DVDs. Because one, those are the ones I grew up with, so I don't really... And two, I think the special editions of the original Star Wars movies are quite bad, and I don't want them. There was... he's a nice guy, and I didn't really say anything about it, so I'm not going to name him. But I was talking to a streamer on here a little bit, and he went on this really, really garbagey rant about how people who want the original copy should shut up. And I'm like, no, I don't think it's wrong for people to want to rewatch the movie they enjoyed, not rewatch a later interpretation of the movie by somebody who's very different. Yes. Oh my God, Robin. Oh my God. The amount of crap that was in Star Wars before Disney took over was amazing. You have no idea. The extended universe the original extended universe got really bad. Like, shockingly bad. But there was some what's funny is the extended universe got bad in ways that, Star Wars is getting bad now. So it's clearly a precedent. like, including one of the most infamous things is constantly redoing the fucking Death Star. Sorry, don't curse. Constantly doing the Death Star, which is, yeah. Anyways, but check out stuff by Timothy Zahn. If you want to like, there's a few people in there that are really good, and the best is written by a guy named Timothy Zahn usually. Yeah, I agree, Robin. I agree. Well, the thing is, I just want to watch the original cuts again because my dad was a huge Star Wars fan. My dad was a huge Star Wars fan, and he loved watching the originals. And I think we watched the original cuts like 100 times because he liked them so much. So I'd really like to watch them again. You know, those were good memories. Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I might watch at some point. Um, really? Yeah. My least. It's like an hour and a half. You know, I might watch it a little bit, but we'll see. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bad in the Star Wars stuff. I don't know. I get depressed when like people are like, I feel like Star Wars especially has like Star Wars people are not like I feel like there's too much like emotion tied up with Star Wars, really, which sounds bad. People like it, and I think they should because there's a lot of good. Um. Ooh. Well, Jaden, the general consensus has always been the worst thing that Star Wars ever produced was the Star Wars Holiday Special. I don't know if you're aware of this. This seems to be a thing younger people are not aware of. But what you might not even know is that there is in fact a few other Star Wars live action movies that nobody remembers that were produced by George Lucas. They were television. I believe they were television. I believe they were television specials called. It was. Yeah. No, I don't mean that. I don't mean like caring. I mean like people are so intense about like their feelings about Star Wars that like it can be like no relationship should be ended over Star Wars. You know what I mean? Different opinions about Star Wars. Ewoks. Let's see. Star Wars Ewoks. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there were two. I believe these were TV movie spin-offs called Star Wars Ewoks, and there was two movies produced of them. I've never seen them, but I always saw them in DVD stores. Let's see, TV movie. Aha! Caravan of Courage, an Ewok adventure. Yeah, and then Ewok: The Battle of Endor. No, it's these are the Star Wars movies nobody remembers. These two, it was these two spin-off TV movies that they produced about the Ewoks. I always saw them in DVD stores, and I was always fascinated by them.
Far away, a brother and sister search for their missing parents,
How are we gonna find them? We will, don't worry.
and fate leads them to the magical Ewoks.
We help you.
Now, a great adventure begins. It's an action-packed motion picture featuring incredible special effects from the award-winning team of
Sorry, did Karen occur? Yeah. What are you talking about? You don't like it? You don't like this? What? Let's see. Ewok. Here's an even obscure thing. Do you know that they made an Ewok animated series? At some point? What, you don't like it? You don't like it? Oh my god, Paul Dini wrote this? Oh my god, this is written by Paul Dini. Do you guys know who Paul Dini is? If you don't, he's a very big name. I mean, he may have created a little character that you've heard of, Harley Quinn. Anyways, and he was one of the main writers on a little show called Batman the Animated Series. And Lost. I didn't know he did Lost. You're freaking out, Jaden. You're freaking out. You're freaking out. Anyways. Yeah. So, the question is, what do we write? And I have very little ideas on what to write, honestly. It's good talking to you guys again. I miss talking to you guys. there was a superhero. His name was Dave. And his real name was Pluton Man. Okay. Dave is his superhero identity. Yeah. People are so... Well, one, the Batman movie is very clearly based on the Tom King run of Batman. And two, how can you be accurate to comics at this point, really? There's so many Batman stories with so many different interpretations of Batman. It's like, you can pick... I don't know. Yeah, I mean, all good adaptations change stuff. It's one of those things, it's like people are so weird because, like, okay, here's things that adaptations have added to, Batman. The utility belt, the Bat Cave, the Batmobile. Imagine if they did like a Batman story without the Batcave. Like that just didn't exist. And people were like, "Oh, well, that's bullshit." It's like, well, original Batman didn't have a Batcave. They only added that, I believe, after the original series, the film serial. The thing about adaptation is it's a funny thing. It's because you can change up stuff, but it's kind of. Do you know what the ship of Theseus is, Jaden? Do you know what the ship? Yeah, exactly, and that's. Do you know what the ship of Theseus is? It's this old kind of philosophical idea, and basically, the ship of Theseus is okay. It's this kind of philosophical idea, and it's good. It's kind of a keep in mind when adapting something, or really anything. Okay, the ship of Theseus is an old Greek hero, and his ship sailed around the world. And he docks it in, and his ship is damaged, so he replaces this and that. He replaces parts of his ship. He replaces parts of his ship, and each time he replaces a part of his ship, somebody else buys a piece of the ship. And slowly but surely, as Theseus is fixing up his ship and replacing parts, he replaces every part of his ship. And the guy who bought the pieces that he replaced then uses them to build a new ship. So the question is, which ship sailed around the world? And that's basically the ship of Theseus. It's like, is it Theseus's original ship or the new ship? And that's basically the idea. And that's supposed to. This is very a Platonic Plato idea of stuff. Is that we only see form. Anyways, if you want to know like basic Western philosophy, then that scours into Platonic ideals of stuff. But I always think about that in relation to like adaptation. It's like you can change a certain amount and it's no big deal. But the more you change, the more you can't like change everything, and there's a certain level where if you change too much, it's not Batman anymore. But that level is always where that is vague. Like I don't know if you've ever seen. I mean, there's no real point unless you're just historically curious. The original film serial of Batman, Jaden. Do you know what I'm talking about? I believe this was made in like the 40s. And it's, I think, the very first Batman live action adaptation. We can play it because it's in the public domain. Film. It is very bad. It isn't. Yeah, there it is. It is very bad. And it is noticeably cheap. And one of the things they changed was that Batman is just a secret agent called the Batman. He does not, and he doesn't even fight like there it is. He doesn't even there it is. He doesn't even fight like any of his known villains. He fights, I believe it's the Weather Wizard is the guy he fights, which was created for this. But like a few things pop up from this, and I believe this is where the Batcave initially comes from. Is this? Anyways, if you are aware of It is not good. It is not good. Film serials are this interesting, like, I guess I don't need to change it. Film serials are this interesting, like, thing of, like, they are, I think Robin went to bed, buddy. I think Robin's in bed. I keep... Film serials are fun. Lynn! Good to see ya. How's it been? Not like I haven't seen ya. AKA AAA. Good to see you, Lynn. It is funny. I see Lynn every week now because we're in a D&D game together. How's it going, eh? How's it going today, Lynn? Go, be right back. As you can see, it has been a minute. To be fair, I haven't done a lot of streaming as well, so this is my first time back in a while. As you can see, I'm riding up like a storm. Oh, come on. There we go. A non-stop hurricane of writing. Good to see you. I have absolutely no ideas and I'm totally out of them. What are you working on these days? I know you said you're not doing the ghost thing. You're on a little bit of a break from the ghost thing. But what do you have? You mentioned you were working on something new. Oh, by the way, have you seen Haunted Hotel yet? That I think you're gonna really like that one. That one seems right up your alley. I watched it twice actually this weekend. I thought it last weekend. I thought it was so funny. Boo, college. Just damage your Lynn. Just damage your grades to watch TV. That's what I did. Yeah. How is college going for you, Lynn? By the way, I never ask about that. How is college going? You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I remember when I was in college, and people would always ask me, the only question people would ask me is like, "Well, how's college going?" I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Sorry to hear it. Oh, come on. Where is it? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Is it the stress or the people? Just talking about how stressful college can be. Yeah. Listen, they always say you should act rich, and what you should do. Listen, do you see rich people pay taxes? No, they don't have to, because they don't want to. So, you should try and avoid it. And I think rich people respect you for not doing it. My mouse is. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it's very annoying. You notice what it's doing right now? Look. Well, it's what rich people do all the time, so clearly they know more about it than we do. And if a rich person can do it, I think a poor person should be allowed to do that. It's only right. It's only American. Tax evasion is the right of every American. For I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Unless you make jokes about unless the president doesn't like you, and then he'll try and get your late night talk show canceled. What crap that was. I'm still upset about that. That was annoying. Yep, I am. I'm getting my picture taken for my Canadian passport this week. I haven't fully decided if I'm going to Canada yet, but I am going to get my Canadian passport sorted out. Because if you're new, and I don't think anybody is, But if you're new, I do have I do have the right to claim Canadian citizenship. My mom is a Canadian citizen. She was born in Canada. I have the right to claim it, but I never have up to this point. So I'm working it out right now, so I can. And I'm thinking about maybe getting my master's degree up in Canada, because I've always wanted to get my master's degree. And Canada is so much cheaper than the U.S. for citizens. It's about like half the price up in Canada that it is here. So I was like, why not do it there? Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't decided on that fully yet. I haven't made a definitive plan. I'm just getting my paperwork worked out, and then we'll see. I mean, it won't affect you guys. It won't affect you guys. I'll just suddenly at some point you'll see me streaming from a new location, and that'll be it. I'll just be like in an apartment in Canada somewhere. I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet. I don't know. I think it would be good to have one. It's not a very exciting answer. Do you know that as speaking of superheroes, yeah, that's so annoying when you get stuck in that loop of like, well, you gotta fix this, gotta fix that. Sometimes it's okay. So I've often thought people would notice a plot hole of mine, and nobody does. So I just pretend it doesn't happen. But imagine how different this stream will be. I don't know. Somewhere in the original trilogy. Yeah, exactly. I'll be marginally closer to you, Lobotomy. I am looking at Vancouver. If people are curious, I am thinking about Vancouver as my probable destination. I don't know. Either The Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi. Although New Hope, I've been thinking recently how good New Hope is as a movie, like just as a pure single movie, how like excellent it really is. And if Star Wars had ended there, it would probably be still considered one of the great movies of the 70s, which is saying a lot because there was a lot of really good movies made in the 70s. It's too complicated. I will say this: I prefer Last Jedi to like Rise of the Skywalker. I thought Rise of the Skywalker was pretty crap. Partly, I'm thinking of Vancouver because Vancouver has a really good film side. Look at me. I'm doing some writing. I'm just fixing up grammar errors. It's funny. I was thinking about this, Jaden. Do you have any interest in Star Trek, Jaden? Like, do you have any interest in Star Trek? No wrong answers. It's just I think about this that young people seem to not like Star Trek anymore. Yeah. And you know what? That justifies everything. That justifies everything because you have a good time at with your family, and that should justify everything. I mean, do I have a high opinion of Star Wars because it was some of my dad's favorite movies? Maybe. And he liked watching them so much. Yeah. It's a very good trilogy, Star Wars. It's kind of a perfect trilogy in a lot of ways. Cuz all the characters pretty much get good thing, you know. I don't know. I guess I have an issue. I don't know. I feel like it got so cutesy. I don't know. This guy I got irritated with. I didn't even argue with him. I got irritated and he says, well, Star Wars is a kid's thing. And I'm like, it's not. It's a family thing, which is subtly different. There is a difference between a family program and a kids program. And a family program is a family program means it's appropriate for everybody, and a kids program means it's only appropriate for kids. And Star Wars is very much family entertainment. And that needs to be stated quite clearly because sometimes people try and yeah, exactly. Family means it's something everybody can enjoy. Whereas kids is something only kids could like. Is he cool, the guy named Spock? Because I can guarantee his parents weren't. um... Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Family is for everybody. Kids are like I don't know. And it's a little bit up in the air what that, where the line is, but I feel like Star Wars definitely is meant to be a family entertainment. And cuz I mean it's obvious adults. I don't know. There is this adult thing where it's like you get a sense that there are some people out there who inexplicably kind of thought they would be Jedis. It's hard for me to put this in words exactly, but there are guys who kind of in the back of their mind were like, yeah, but I'm going to be a Jedi. I'm going to figure out how to do it. Like this is going to be the thing I do. Like as a kid, I don't know if I've told this story, but there was a part of me that was much older than I cared to admit, where I was still sort of convinced I'd be a superhero. Like, I don't know exactly when I gave up the dream to be a superhero. Yeah. I don't know exactly when I gave up the dream to be a superhero, but there was a little part of me that was like, I could still pull this off. I could still pull this off being a superhero. Yeah. I do consider I'm gonna yeah. Imagine if I tried to be a superhero now. Screw it. I might get in trouble for this. But this is what I think would happen if I tried to be a superhero. Let me show you. Let me show you this video. I might do some rearranging. Yes, I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but I don't care. 1 second. I love that vid so much. That's what would happen to me if I was a superhero. And we're all very excited to read it one day, Lynn. Jaden's alternate adventures as a superhero. I mean, Stan Lee always said that Spider-Man was... What if he was a superhero? Yeah, yeah. You mushrooms. Am I not getting on the... I feel like I'm not getting on the yeah, anyways, on the shorts thing, because I used to get on the shorts thing when I did these vertical streams, and I feel like it's not happening. Anyways, if I were to write a superhero story, what should it be about? What's an underexplored power of a superhero? What if they could turn into a bat? I could call it a man bat. You think people would be into that, man Batman? He's a man, he's a bat, he's a man Batman. Darn it! That sneaky Bob Kane. Always traveling through time and stealing my ideas. There's this really great sketch I saw. And the premise is that... you should look it up. It's a really funny sketch that these guys did. And the premise is that George Lucas is actually a time traveler. And he just stole the idea for Star Wars from some random guy in the future and traveled back in the past to make Star Wars before him. And it's like, I thought that was really funny. It's like he says, sorry, yeah, I just stole Star Wars. My bad. It's like, I just thought, what if I just did Star Wars before you? But it's also like he didn't remember and it's like he said he couldn't quite remember Star Wars. Like exactly. So the Star Wars we get is an imperfect version of of. Anyways, it's funny. Okay. Here's my idea. It's a man, but he's an extraordinary man. He's like a Superman. Lobotomy. Would you believe I actually had a very similar idea years ago? This was actually going to be. I might do this. I might still do this. This was actually going to be sort of a. Because that's actually a really good idea. So I legitimately had that idea a few years ago, and the premise was, it was I was talking about. It's like it is a good idea. It's the idea was basically I had this idea for superheroes, and the idea is since D&D characters are essentially superheroes in many ways, that it would be funny if like a couple of like fantasy characters with the power of like D&D characters got transported into our modern day and essentially become superheroes. And that was a premise of a D&D campaign I wanted to run basically, and or maybe make a story about. And it was going to be a normal D&D campaign initially, but then through then accidentally like the players would get transported to our like modern day world. Lynn can attest that I seem to have somewhat of a fixation on modern day fantasy things, but but that was going to be the premise. And basically like the fantasy people, your D&D characters would be essentially like superheroes fighting crime as superheroes. Yes. It's yeah. It's just I try and like avoid like overdone settings, I think. Is more of my thing. Yeah. He does. I have several short stories also set in a modern day fantasy world. I don't know. I just try and avoid overdone set. I don't. Oh, can I tell you? Let me show you another idea I've had for. I feel like this is not getting onto the shorts feed, which is frustrating to me. We can. Oh, no. I just because I linked this here. That's the only reason. Nothing bad. Anyways, I found on the archive. By the way, archive is great if you ever are looking for stuff. Check the Internet Archive. And I found the original D&D book, like the Volume 1 D&D book. And I was kind of thinking, wouldn't it be kind of fun to try and do like the run a campaign in like classic D&D? Like go back all the way to like version 1 D&D and see if we can run a campaign using the original like 1970s stuff. Like don't like none of the modern day stuff. We can only use like the stuff that would have the original people like the original version would have. And I was thinking that would be kind of cool. Like just do a very retro campaign. Yeah. Sure, yeah. I mean, also, I think it would be kind of funny to just sort of laugh a little bit at the old stuff, because I'm sure there'd be a lot of like really dated stuff. I wanted to find like a module, like from like, I mean, I know there's like Castle Gygax and stuff that we could theoretically run, and stuff like that, which is a really infamous one. Do you guys know what Castle Gygax is? It's kind of like a like I think you're supposed to like it's you're supposed to bring like you're supposed to create like 4 different characters because usually characters die really easily. Anyways, yeah. I've been looking into superhero systems, by the way, for a potential. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, partly it got inspired because a D&D podcast I was listening to, they talked about doing a modern day D&D game once, and I thought that was such a fun idea. And the premise was that their villain escaped into the modern day, and they had to go fight it. And I always thought that was such a funny idea. And like one of the things they did was like the orc had to be Santa Claus, like had to like dress up as Santa Claus. And is that it? I think I'm misremembering it, but no, they had to fight Santa Claus. They had to fight Santa Claus. I just came up with the idea that the orc had to be Santa Claus. Now I want to do that. Yeah. Anyways, but yeah. There's by the way a lot of superhero RPGs. I don't know if you guys know that. I didn't know that. Yes. Well, NORAD is tracking me, so it makes sense. You guys don't even know what I'm referencing. I feel like I didn't. Whatever you do, Jaden, don't ask Lynn about her favorite Star Wars movie, because she'll disappear if she does that. People are vanishing, Lynn, whenever Jaden asks about their favorite Star Wars movie. Ah! Ghost! No! My favorite Star Wars movie is Solo. And that's a perfectly justifiable reason to like it. What's your favorite Star Trek movie, huh? Lobotomy? In Con? Is it right? Is it... No, it's... yeah. I really think it's funny. Yeah, I can tell. Wrath of Khan. For a minute there, I forgot what it's called. I think it's so funny. I've talked about this before. How Star Wars and Star Trek used to be equal, pretty much. as the big nerd franchises. Like it was really a big debate between Star Wars and Star Trek. And Star Wars has just pulled so incontrovertibly ahead. It's ridiculous. Like, do you guys even know what Star Trek is anymore? Jaden, Lynn, my representatives of youth culture. Have you ever heard of Star Trek before? Lobotomy. It's okay if you don't. I get it's perfect. I think it's perfectly justifiable that you don't, but yeah. It's fine. We're not yeah. We're not overgrown man children who still scream about Star Wars movies at each other. We're 130 year old, and I'm assuming medium age of like 15. So we can have the mature discussion about Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah, Kurt. Yes. I believe the no, shipping was invented for X-Files. I forgot. No, shipping was invented for X-Files. But yeah, some of the earliest documented ship fic is for Star Trek. Like legitimately historically. Like from like 60s. No, that's what I'm saying. It's just it's curious because this is kind of how like time works. Because like in the 2000 up to I would say the 2000s, Star Wars and Star Trek were considered equal as franchises. Like Star Wars and Star Trek were considered at the same level pretty much. Like on the franchise level, and generally you were a nerd was expected to know both pretty intensely, and you would have very intense opinions about which was and which was better. But it's funny nowadays with younger people. Star Wars has so outstripped it. I don't know if that means... I'm not necessarily saying quality, people, but I am saying you must admit popularity-wise, Star Wars is much bigger than Star Trek is now. Yeah. Yes, there's no difference. And I think it's very funny that happened. I don't know how to explain... I mean, I know how to explain it, because... what happened is... as millennials started taking over the internet, and the rise of, say, stuff like YouTube and stuff happened, Star Trek stopped producing shows, and the franchise essentially went away. They're all old. They don't give a shit. And the franchise essentially went away, so there was no, like, millennial version of Star Trek, really. And thus... And compounded with that is that Star Trek is owned by Paramount, which means that it streams on... you can actually stream it for free with Pluto TV, but Pluto is just not popular enough for people to know that. But it mostly streams on Paramount Plus, which is by far the least popular of the streaming services. So it has... like, if I could, it has a fairly limited ability to expand at this moment with current corporate structure. So it's going to, I think, really, and this is sad because there is very good Star Trek stuff. Star Trek is very good. And Jaden and Lynn, I suspect you would both like it if you saw it. Jaden, Lynn, and Lobotomy, all three of you would probably, would probably all enjoy it. But because it is just, yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm just saying. I suspect that it might appeal to you. That I think it's limited. I don't think it's growing a fan base. And right now, it could theoretically grow a fan base, but they keep kind of screwing that up. Partly because it's on Paramount Plus, which is not a popular streaming service. And I think that's interesting. That's all I'm saying is I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that that isn't happening. And especially, I would argue, yeah, again, Jada, I don't think you should watch. I don't think you have to watch it. I'm not even arguing for it. I'm just saying, I believe it's really quite shocking how far Star Trek has fallen. As a, not that it's I don't know. I don't have Paramount Plus, so I haven't watched the newer stuff really. But in like daily conversation, it's like it is now very much a nostalgia franchise, which it surprisingly had averted and was always able to build newer fans. For a long time, and it is now very much a nostalgia franchise, which is a problem. If you don't know the basic premise of Star Trek takes place in the far future, and humanity has essentially it exists in a post-want society, and it follows different Star Trek, Federation crews, which are staffed by humans and aliens as they explore the galaxy and accomplish various missions. It's a very simple show to. It's a very simple show. The originals still look great. Yeah. Well, that's kind of the thing I'm arguing. Is that Star Trek still holds up pretty decently. What? Yeah, 500 cigarettes. The problem isn't Star Trek itself. The problem is, one, I believe Star Trek really missed an opportunity. It really missed an opportunity when it shouldn't have, which is basically I think it needed a new show. See, what's great about Star Trek, and what bugs me at least now, is that Star Trek is very easy to make new shows for. Because all you got to do is it's a new crew and a new I more recently got into it as a thing, partly because of other people I knew who were into it, and I wanted to also be into it to be able to talk to them about it. But Star Trek is a very easy show to make a new series for. All you need to simply do is have it be a new ship and a new crew. And they very smartly did that, but they're not. It's very much a nostalgia. Anyways, I just think. Now, Seth MacFarlane. That is not a Star Trek show, but it is a somewhat of a parody of a Star Trek, but also it's just a show. Yeah, that is the Orville. I know what you're talking about. The Orville. Which is the most inexplicable thing. It's McFarlane pretty much doing his own Star Trek. Yeah. Oh yeah, I haven't seen that. I don't know. I still couldn't quite. Anyways, I think I'm hyping myself up into writing a Star Trek riff. I think that's what I'm hyping myself up into doing. But I don't. I've talked about maybe doing something like that for a while, and I think I'm a little bit hyping myself up into doing it. But, no, but it pretty much is. No, it's his own, like, little sci-fi universe he created for himself. Okay, Jaden, go to bed. Go to bed, Jaden. Now I'm curious about something. Hey, uh, yeah, it did. Star Trek, the Star Trek fandom is also where we get the name. Where do you which name which trope where is where we get Mary Sue from? Because there was a piece of Star Trek. It was already so prevalent. The troops are already so prevalent that they made fun of. But yeah, it appeared in 1973. Yeah, it appeared in 1973. It was so prevalent already that people were talking about it. This is okay. Gee golly gee, we were talking about Star Trek. It naturally occurred. Yeah. Gee golly gee, Glorinsky, thought Mary Sue as she stepped on the bridge of the Enterprise. Here I am, the youngest lieutenant in the fleet, only 15 and a half years old. Captain Kirk came up to her. Oh, Lieutenant, I love you madly. Will you go bed with me? Captain, I'm not that kind of girl. You're right, and I respect you for it. Here, take over the ship for a minute while I go get some coffee for us. Mr. Spock came onto the bridge. What are you doing in command, Lieutenant? The captain told me to. Flawlessly logical, I admire your mind. Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy, Mr. Scott beamed down with Lieutenant Mary Sue to Rigel, where they were attacked by green androids and thrown in prison. In a moment of weakness, Lieutenant Mary Sue revealed to Mr. Spock that she too was half Vulcan. Recovering quickly, she sprung the lock with her hairpin, and they all got back to the ship. But back on board, Dr. McCoy and Lieutenant Mary Sue found out that the men who had beamed down were seriously stricken with jumping cold rabies, Mary Sue less so. While the four officers languished in sickbay, Lieutenant Mary Sue ran the ship and ran it so well she received the Nobel Peace Prize, the Vulcan Order of Gallantry, and the Order of Good Guyhood. However, the disease finally got to her and she fell fatally ill. In the sick bay, as she breathed her last, she was surrounded by Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, Dr. McCoy, Mr. Scott, all weeping and unashamedly lost at her beautiful youth and youthful beauty, intelligence, capability, and all-around niceness. Even to this day, her birthday is the national holiday of the Enterprise. Yeah. 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 Well, Q is an that is the where Amerisu originally comes from. It's funny because you see one of the tropes that doesn't exist anymore. Because you can see a lot of tropes that still exist anymore, and you see one of the tropes that doesn't exist anymore, that she died, which is very funny because this is like, not to get all intellectual on you guys, but this seems to be an element of Victorian literature where the girl always dies. Yeah. Q is. I'm not really a Star Trek expert. Q is an immortal, like, interdimensional being. Hold on a second. It's pretty fucked up. It's like 15 and a half, and Kirk. I don't know. Kirk is, yeah. That's pretty fucked up, right? Yeah. And if you're curious about all this, how this was known is that this is from like fan magazines and stuff, where stuff like this popped up, and that it would just be distributed by mail and sign up, and at like conventions and stuff before the internet. I don't know. There's something respectable about that it would be in like the internet and stuff. You have to like hand printed and stuff. Uh, but that's kind of what I meant. Is like this had such a breadth. Tosh, how's it going, by the way? Oh, slash fiction is where we get from Kirk and Spock. Because I was trying to remember, because I know the term shipping comes from X Files. Is this the one I'm thinking of? What am I allowing? Anyways, I don't know. I get pretty exhausted with like modern. I think if I could give you my somewhat controversial opinion, I guess. I think I don't like modern day fandoms. And I really don't like how it's been kind of like co-opted by the weird fascist dudes that exist now. Like the fact that like somebody like Ben Shapiro uses video criticizing video games as like a way to like recruit fascist people is like depressing to me as a concept. That's what I was looking for. This was a funny one. If you guys have never seen this comic before, oh shut up, TV tropes. I would, but TV tropes is stuff. Ads are particularly bad. Like to the point where having them on makes them almost unreadable. Welcome back! Yeah. It's funny how, like, there's already, like, these tropes were already so prevalent in the 70s that somebody could make fun of it. The only one that doesn't exist anymore is the character dying at the end. Which is, funny. That really goes back to, like, how, like, the ingenue in most stories would be killed at the end of the story, usually. Which, I guess, like, if you really want to think about it, the Mary Sue is not that far removed from the ingenue, and, like... Ooh. Far removed from the ingenue as, a character archetype. Do you guys know what the ingenue is? Oh, right. Yeah, you don't. I don't know. I don't know if that doesn't really seem to happen much in fan fiction anymore. That the author insert dies. But from my understanding, and because there's a parody of it, it was so prevalent that was partly what they were making fun of. But yeah, yeah. There used to be the ingenue. I don't know if you got that's an older term you'll hear is ingenue. We call them the moe now, I believe, but it used to be the ingenue, and the ingenue usually dies. They usually, to make it extra sad, is that the ingenue usually dies. The ingenue is almost always a woman, but not necessarily, and is a pure-hearted girl who wants only the best for everybody and tries to be morally correct, and usually something terrible happens in her life. Esmeralda, in the original Hunchback of Notre Dame, is considered a pretty classic version of the character archetype, and they usually kill the ingenue, which is interesting because that seems to have carried over to like in the 70s. People were still doing that. Nowadays, I don't know. I don't know enough about fan fiction. Hello. You pleb? Really? Wow. I did not know that. How's it going, pleb? How are things? We are welcome to the welcome. We are as you can see, riding up a storm. I've been staring at this blank screen for a good hour with nothing to show for it. That's good. I did not know that they changed that. Tell us a little bit. What are you working on besides downloading? Yeah. I wonder who else they killed. I mean, I know pretty famously, like in Breaking Bad, Jesse was supposed to die, but they decided against it because he was too popular. think like I don't know? Did they really think like kids would be cool with that? Like, oh, they want him to live. I guess it makes sense because um, Star Trek. I've been I've been what? Yeah. I mean that was but no that was popular even though in the 90s. It got so infamous Disney liked to do it. You know, Disney did that a lot in the 90s where they seemingly would kill off a character. Did I? Okay, so I've had this idea in my head for a while, and I might still do it. Might have to wait for hype around a certain thing to die down a little bit. Anyway, so I've had this idea in my head. Okay, so fun fact about do you know Epcot? Do you know what Epcot is? Disneyland in Disney World. So Epcot was actually a initially planned by Walt Disney to be a city. Like he wanted it to be an actual real deal. Oh, what's this? What is it? He actually wanted it to be a really real deal, actual city that actually existed that people lived in, and he wanted to engineer. He was going to build it himself, and it was going to be. Ooh. Oh, actually, that's pretty fun. I like that idea, Pleb. How long have you been working on it? Let me see. Okay. So it was going to be a real city that he would create and manage himself. The reason it didn't exist was one, it was not a particularly great idea, and two, he died before plans moved too far forward. But anyway, so they turned that into another amusement park, and I've always been fascinated by it because I've always thought, well, what if it did? What if? And I've always wanted to write a story that took place in a theoretical Epcot that did exist, where he successfully built Epcot. Anyways, and I thought, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it. I have the sci-fi class. I want to write a sci-fi story. That's the story I'm finally gonna write. Is this idea I've been having in the back of my head for like a story set in the theoretical Epcot that would have existed. And I had pretty much worked it out. It was gonna be like a murder mystery and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, nobody, absolutely nobody could ever come up with an idea for a dark reinterpretation of Disney World. Like surely nobody, there's nothing that's going to release right as I'm about to start working on this idea about people who live in a dystopian Disney world. Surely nobody at all. Surely there's nothing that's just about to be released as I start writing it that's going to do the exact same thing. Surely no. Right? There's no way a much bigger creator would come out with something that has that exact same premise. It's good. I watched it. I liked it. If you haven't seen it yet, you should. But I like that so, Pleb, what would you say is like your... What do you like? Do you like fantasy? Are you a general fantasy nut? Yeah. If you guys haven't seen it yet, you should. It's pretty good. I'm very excited. Anyways. If you should. That you're particularly excited about this idea? You must. And Bob, I really want to talk to you more, but I am getting very tired. I don't know if you can tell. And I kind of want to log off, but let's see. I don't have the energy to keep going. Yeah, and we're gonna raid somebody since people are here. I want to raid somebody, but let's see. My usual. Okay. Let's see. Is we raid the. Let's do Joy. If you like what you saw, follow, hitting that little heart button. All it means is that you like the stream a whole lot. Same category. And we'll start raid. Okay, talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it immensely. Bye.